What is going on, makers? How we doing today? Thank you for joining me here live from the library. And if you're wondering what the heck that just was, I'm about to tell you right now. As you may or may not be able to see, this is what I like to call a balloon rocket. I can't really take it off this line to show you a closer example, but right now we're about to make some. So you'll get a closer look at it. In your kits, you're going to see some fishing line, some straws, some tape. You'll probably have some scissors at your house somewhere from yesterday's video, and we're gonna have some craft foam too. So this is a really fun racing game going into the competitive games that we are talking about today, and it's also kind of a fun physics experiment. So let's just get started. I'm gonna have to give me 1 second here to grab my materials, see everything we need. All right, cool, and a straw. How about that? All right. So, this is the balloon racing rocket game, or the balloon rocket racing game, however you want to think about it. And there's a couple different steps to it. So we're going to start off first by building our rocket, because why not? So the basis for your rocket, as you can kind of see still from our lingering, our rocket over here, is going to be your straw. And that is because there will be a line, the fishing line will actually go through the straw, and that's sort of the track that our balloons will race on. So we start off just by cutting our straw. There's no real need. You can use your roller if you want. About 3 inches is probably what you want, but you can do a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, whatever makes sense to you. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to, here, I'll put this down. We are going to just cut our straw as such. And we'll have to pinch it out because it does that naturally because it's plastic. Cool little popping sound. Then from here, we're going to take our craft foam and we're going to make some attachments for our rocket. I usually like to make 3. One that's kind of like one that the balloon will be attaching to. And I imagine at first it's kind of being like a fin that was sort of on top of our rocket. But now I see that it ends up actually usually kind of being on the underside of our rocket. But you'll see what I mean once we get on the line. So once we have our first, so we'll cut out 3 fins. So here's 1 fin, and we'll do 2 more. Like so. And I kind of like the triangle vibe. I think that looks, I think it's probably pretty aerodynamic. But if you want to get creative and cut out some other shapes, go for it. No reason not to. We don't need that now. That's okay. I'll pick it up later. All right. So once we have we've got our 3 triangles and we've got our little straw for our rocket. We're going to go ahead and tape these all up. So, like I said, we'll do our lone fin first. That'll sort of be at the bottom or the top, depending upon your racing style. So that'll be like such. Okay. Then we're going to attach our wings on either side. And to do this, we can kind of just line them up together, right? Get a piece of tape out. Make sure it's about long enough. Put our tape down. Then we can put our straw right in the middle here. Boop, just like that. And then we'll attach from either side. And 2. All right. Now we'll fold this tape in a little bit. Lots of tape folding in this camp. It's a good thing you guys were ready for that from yesterday. Got a good start. All right. Cool. So now we have our little straw rocket. Pretty awesome, pretty aerodynamic. Like I said, you can try to fly it with one of your sort of like guiding fins up top, but I think it ends up being easier if it's on the bottom. And that's kind of cool because it looks kind of more like Star Wars-y or something, right? It's got like a fighter jet thing going on. If you guys want to decorate and customize, I highly suggest you do, especially since this is a race. You're going to be racing somebody else while we do this. So Once we have our rocket completed, the next step is hanging up our track, our line, our fishing line. So to do that, we're gonna want to take we'll bring our rocket with us. We're going to bring a balloon. We're going to bring some tape and some scissors. And essentially, I know it's difficult to see. Oh, sorry, behind me right now, but this one is actually on a line, a fishing line. You can see we can kind of just like, woo! So there is this very, very thin line. Depending upon the lighting, you might be able to catch it correctly. And in order to do this, we're going to have to set up the same kind of track as this, but on the other side, because each balloon rocket needs its own track. So let's go ahead, and I will do this from this side. Now, whenever we're setting these up, friends, it's important that we have two stable anchors on either side of our line. So I'm using this big brick foundation here in the library, and then we're also using part of this bookshelf. So whatever you use in your house, make sure it's areas that you're allowed to tape on and that'll be stable enough to hold it on either side, because they kind of need to anchor down the line. What we're going to do is we're going to take the one side of our fishing line. Well, yours are already cut off, so you'll be able to adjust it as you see fit. So you're going to take one side and tape it. And this will be your finishing side, your finishing line. I'm going to go ahead and just tape this right on the other side of the one we have set up already. And you want to make sure that they're at about the same height and the same angle, because that'll affect how quickly your rocket is able to complete the race in its track. So do the best we can here. Match these up. Awesome. All right. We'll carry our tools with us. And you guys, like I said, you have yours pre-cut out, but I need to kind of pop back a ways. Now, it's also important to have a little bit of space between your rockets, because you don't really want them smacking off of each other. But if they do, that's okay. It'll just, one of them is probably just going to get stopped by the other one if that's what happens. But like everything we do, guys, there's a definite element of experimentation in this. So I'm just showing you guys the basic way to get this going. And then if you want to play with, maybe the angle of your track, or you want to play with how many fins you put on, or the way you attach the balloon, that's all going to be up to you. All right. Now, once you have this track set up, I'm going to come over here to show you this a little bit more closely. Lots of limbo involved with this video for me, so that's a little bit of a game in itself. So once you have the one side of your line attached, as we do over there, you're going to actually have to put your rocket in through the line before you attach it to the other side. Because otherwise, if you attach it before putting your rocket on, there'd be no way to get your rocket on, because both sides would be closed already. So you have to make sure you get your rocket, and you kind of got to feed your fishing line through. Here we go. There we go. See? So now we have it on our line. We'll go ahead, take that. I'm going to take that with us. We'll come back underneath, do a little limbo. Come over here to the other side. We're going to have to attach this as such. And again, remember, we want to have sort of the same tension and the same angle and the same distance as much as we can. So, tension is how tight the rope is. So I know you guys, that was a fun example. So whenever it's tense, there's a lot of tension. Our rocket isn't moving, right? But if we reduce the tension or pull it up, it makes the rocket move. So we want to make sure these are nice and tight on either side, about the same level. Once they are, we can go ahead and tape that in. All right. This is looking pretty decent. Okay, so double check. These are looking pretty good, right? What do you think, friends? Kind of see a little bit here, huh? Oh, the light's a little bit much. All right, so once we have ours on, the last thing we need to do before we're able to race is get our balloon attached to our rocket. So this is why I said the one fin ends up being kind of like a downward facing fin. I know this is probably hard to see from there. Let me see if I can bring the laptop a little bit closer. Probably not, but yeah, that helps a little bit. So what we have to do with just like this balloon or this rocket, we have to attach our balloon at the bottom. And to do that, we're going to want to tape the balloon on either side or on both sides. So we'll have one piece of tape on the right side and one piece on the left. And that helps the balloon stay centered while it is propelling our rocket forward. All right. And now to operate the second balloon, we're going to bring in our good friend, Mr. Josh here, who's kind of somewhat of a game master in his own right. Introducing Mr. Josh. Cool. So, all right. What you're going to have to do, Josh, is blow up your balloon, of course. All right, here, we'll pull this angle back a little bit. All right. So, to start off, once your balloons and rockets are attached, you got to blow up your balloon because your balloon, the air from the balloon as it exits the balloon is going to propel your rocket forward. So, just so you guys know, this is actually rocket science. This is the exact same science that big, important scientists use to send people up into space, except we're doing it on a much smaller scale, much simpler tools, and we are just trying to get our balloon rocket across the library. But that doesn't mean it's any less significant. So I'll go ahead and blow mine up. All right, and once you're both balloons ready to go, can you guys see? Oh, see, Mr. Josh's is ready to go, mine's ready to go. We'll pull them back to the same side, and we'll let them go on the count of 3. So once we're here, we're just making sure that we have our little mouthpiece of the balloon pinched up. You don't want to tie it because obviously, if you tie it, where's it going to go? So we're pinched, we're taped, we're locked on our track, and we're about ready to go. So we'll count it down, and we're going to go on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! So this is an interesting thing that can happen during your game. The balloons, as you can see, will sometimes cause your rocket to spin, and depending upon how that goes. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Mr. Josh, friends. Thank you, Josh. Depending upon how much spinning your balloon does, it's possible that it'll actually tangle both of the lines. So in order to avoid that, if you have more space to set up your lines so that they're maybe about like 5 feet apart instead of about a foot apart like we did, that would probably help prevent from happening what just happened to Josh's balloon, Mr. Josh's balloon just now. But that being said, this is what's so fun about this game, because you can monitor where and how much of a line you set up and at what angle, so that'll affect the speed of it. You get to make your rocket, your straw rocket, and you can do different modifications to see if attaching your balloon in different ways makes it go faster. If having kind of like different like wings and fins out, how that affects how aerodynamic your rocket is. And then also just how much air you blow into your balloon will affect how fast it goes. So this is DIY rocket balloon racing. And to go back through the steps, remember we have to make our straw rocket first. Okay, we have to attach one side of our line to one of the anchors, which is of course on this side. And once our string line over to the other side, right over there. And then before we tape that side in, we have to actually feed our straw rocket onto the line, right? Then we'll attach that. We'll attach the other anchor from the starting part of the line. And then once that's ready, we'll make sure our balloon is attached. We'll do that, making sure that we tape it on both sides of the balloon to our anchoring fin. And then we'll blow up our balloon and we'll let them go. And that's pretty much it, friends. So have as much fun with it as you want. Get crazy with it. If you want to set up a big, elaborate track for your balloons to go on, if you have the space and the time, absolutely go for it. And if there's any kind of point system or game or something that you guys come up with to add on a modification to this, I would love to hear about it. That's it, friends. Enjoy your balloon racing. May Godspeed be with you.